Got it. Hello, hello, hello. We are still setting up the meeting for Facebook Live, but I am assuming that you can see me, even though I do not know that I'm live yet. It is Christy here from version of you 2.0, jumping into this group tonight because I've got a really interesting workshop or presentation that my colleague and soul sister is going to be offering you, and it really just speaks to surrender. So I'm not going to go into any details because, to be perfectly honest with you, I myself have not listened to this presentation yet, but I am in a place within my transformation where I really truly am trying to learn different tools and techniques to help me to surrender, because a lot of you know me and a lot of you know that I go, guns blazing and, gloves off, ready to fight any kind of transformation to get to the other side. But I never make it easy for myself. So I'm really starting to, appreciate the tools and techniques that exist that do allow me to make my own transformation journey that much easier. And I really hope that you're going to have some major takeaways to help you to, allow you to transfer through the dark tunnel of anxiety and get to the other side where you can surrender into it. So I'm going to go ahead and introduce my friend and colleague, Christina. So Christina is the creator of Embody Your Essence brand, and I do have her webpage here. I will be able to add that to the comments after we're done. And she specializes in uncovering your aligned personal brand from the inside out. She's also an international speaker, soon to be published author, or I cannot wait, and is a certified Reiki master, feng shui practitioner, medicine woman, and life coach, as well as a bunch of other certifications, because the thing that she loves the most is learning and sharing knowledge. Now, she earned a master's degree from HEC Paris, which is Haute Études Commerciales. Did I say that properly?
Wait.
In innovation and entrepreneurship. And here's a fun fact for you. She was a semi-finalist for the Grammy Music Educator of the Year Award. That is phenomenal. She started her journey, her entrepreneurial journey, I should say, at the age of 5 years old, and has never stopped, even when she had a regular job. She has helped hundreds of people, teams, and organizations in a wide variety of industries to uncover their essence brand, resulting in greater alignment, visibility, clarity, confidence, and clients. So without further ado, Christina, I'm going to allow you to take it away. And I know that you also wanted to share your screen.
I do. Thank you, Christy. Seriously, you are so fun. I'm so excited to be here. And I'm really just going to jump right into a topic that I think it's just really an important topic. And it is the topic of surrender. And, I didn't want to share my screen right away. So I'm just going to pause the share here. Okay. And I, honestly, when I hear my bio, sometimes I'm like, wow, she sounds really cool. Oh, wait,
you sound so cool.
True. But anyways, I mean, of course, anyways, it just makes me laugh every time I hear it. So I really am excited to be here. So surrender is something that we hear all the time. Oh, just surrender. But the gap is, how do you even do that? We are not trained to do that. We're honestly, as humans, not built to do that. It is an enigmatic concept. And so the question that I am asking a lot of people right now is, do you feel the collective burnout? Because that is what so many people that I talk to every day are feeling, is this burnout. But it's not just them. It's like this burnout of humanity. I feel like so many people came into 2022 after 2 rough years on our planet, and like, we're all gung-ho, we're ready to go. And here we are in May of 2022. And I just feel like the fire's fizzling right out of humanity generally. And it feels like the universe is asking us to slow down, to trust the process, to move forward, even if we can't see the way.
Oh, I love that.
Oh, good. Yes, it's really what the universe is asking us, because things are not turning out like we expected. And we don't really know what to do. And we can see what we want, but something isn't working. And this is what I keep seeing with people. Are you seeing this too, Christy?
Yeah, actually, I mean, the collective burnout, I think, is huge. I love how you articulated that. That alone kind of speaks volumes for how I really feel a lot of my clients' mindsets are. And then to move forward, even when we can't see the way, I think right now people are so exhausted and there's just so much time spent wishing for things to happen, but not really having the endurance or the capacity to really take those steps to change their lives because of the fact that they are just so tired.
So tired, and then we're not trained, like I said. So I think it's
Yeah.
that combination. It's like, I don't have enough energy to even do what I have to do. How will I even learn this new thing that is supposed to be so easy, right? It's just surrender. And in fact, my friends, I think it's one of the hardest things that we can do in this lifetime. So if you're feeling this, my friends, please type yes in the chat. Just so, and if you're watching the replay, type replay yes, so that we just know where you're coming from, and that perhaps this is resonating with you. And I would also love to know if you are familiar with the concept of surrendering to the universe, surrendering to God, surrendering to source. There's all sorts of different names about it. I'm going to use the word universe in this presentation. And so if you are familiar with that, please just type surrender in the chat so that we know the familiarity level here. And as I present today, I do like this to be interactive, and I would invite you to ask yourself this question. And that question is, how is this like me? Can you see my screen yet?
Yeah, I absolutely could see your screen, and you are live with your screen, no problem.
Okay, all right. So you can see the question that says, how is this like me?
Yeah.
Perfect. So this is a question that was absolutely life-changing for me. I've been in personal development for quite a while when I learned this question. And by asking this question, I have learned so much, not just about me, but about my clients, about my family, about my friends. So how is this like me is the question I would invite you to ask. And now we're going to switch gears a little bit, obviously. Have you ever seen a fly in your house trying to get out? And it just keeps smacking into the window, hitting it over and over and over again. It can see what it wants and it can visualize it, but it seems like there's something impermeable in the way. And indeed there is, in the way that this fly is going about that. So I have a glass door in my house, and sometimes when I see a fly doing that, I'll open the door for it and invite it to go out. I'll even gently nudge it with a piece of paper or something. And you know what that fly often does? It does not follow the gentle guidance to the open door. It just keeps hitting itself up against the window. So I'm going to tell the story of 5 flies. And as I do this, again, we're going to ask, how is this like me? So fly number 1, actually, I'm going to tell the overarching story. It's like a choose your own adventure with the different choices. Okay. So we are the fly. I'm going to tell it a first story. And I look out and I see green grass and wind in the trees. I think there's another fly out there. I could maybe enjoy some time with that fly. And it looks like there's plenty of food, fun, freedom. It's all out there and it's so close. All I have to do is take the steps to get where I can just fly to it. And I start flying. And bam, I hit the window. And I'm like, whoa, what was that? Okay, let me try it again. So we go and bam, what is going on? I mean, I wanted it, I desired it, I envisioned it, I did the work to get here, but I just can't seem to get to it. There's so much resistance. So I'm going to try again, and we could just go bam, 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 over and over. I just keep hitting the window. I'm tired. I'm burnt out. I'm wondering if the vision is even real, wondering how I can get it. I would do such great things if I got this. I mean, I would help other flies. I would pollinate flowers. I would live my purpose. So I'm going to try again, even though I'm tired. If you're relating to this, please type fly in the chat. You relating to this, Christy?
Yeah, 100%. And I'm laughing because I can't help it.
So at this point, the fly, or us, because we're asking how is this like me, has an infinite number of decisions that it can make. But we're going to narrow it down to 5 choices that will encapsulate most of the choices. So fly number 1, fly number 1 says, I have hit that thing over and over and over again. But clearly I just haven't hit it hard enough or enough times. I need to do more. I need to be more. Maybe I just need to find a different place on this window, but I will never stop. I will never give in. I'm just going to keep going. So that's fly number 1. Fly number 2 says, okay, I'm done. There's just no way. The odds are stacked against me. The system is rigged. This is all a bunch of BS. If things were different, then I could get it. Maybe I don't even deserve this. Fly number 3 says, well, I've done everything and I've done it all right. I did everything they said. I guess it's just not meant to be for me. I guess I'll just be a normal fly. I mean, I did do all the work and it just didn't work out. And fly number 4 says, after a very, very long and hard fight, fine. I surrender. I mean, what choice do I have? Fine, I quit. I surrender. So I invite you to type in the chat which fly you related to the most, and just write the number 1, 2, 3, or 4 in the chat. And Christy, can I ask you what fly do you relate to?
One.
So I'm a 1 or a 2. I'm sorry, no, I'm a 1 or a 3. And we'll talk more about those. I'm a 1 or a 3, but yeah, I must just have to work harder. I must just have to be more. There's clearly something inherently wrong with me that I'm not getting this thing. Oh, we could go on about, I call that gaslighting yourself. And I'll tell you, Chris, I've lived a lifetime of it almost, and I'm so done with gaslighting myself.
I think for me, what stood out the most was that it's not the right approach, but it's the tenacity and the resiliency just to keep going, realizing that there's got to be a solution, not picking the right solution, of course, but that there's got to be a solution and that you're just going to keep going until you find that solution. That's when I resonate the most, as well as just the fact that it just continues to fight,
Totally.
Yeah.
And I think that right there, what you described is really why we're experiencing a lot of the collective burnout.
Yeah.
Is because we have the people in our circles, the people watching this, we're resilient folks. We're people that, don't lay down and just give up. We continue to work. We do the things. And I think that it's led us to this point of collective burnout. So, so in this story, it's this whole story I told you about flies, and we can get stuck in this story. And this is what I call the story matrix. And I got my idea for this from the drama triangle, but I felt like there were a few things in there that this addresses that weren't there. So we have the hero, the martyr, which is the wounded hero, the villain, which no one wants to be, and the victim, which depends on the hero and the villain, because you can't have a victim without that. So in this story, we have, again, there's a lot of overlap here, but we have the hero that is never surrender. That's fly number 1. And that's a place where so many of us, especially in the entrepreneurial space, live, is in that hero space. We have fly number 2, which is the victim, which I call subordination surrender. You just subordinate you to the pressures that be, the system, whatever it is, you just subordinate and you're the victim. Fly number 3 is the martyr, where you're stoic. You did it. You did all the stuff, but it just didn't work. And then interestingly, the villain is the survival surrender. Think about that in a Marvel movie, for example. The hero will die trying. The villain a lot of times they just end up, getting locked up. I'm thinking about, I just watched, what was the one with Loki in it? Where he's in the, anyways, you know what I'm talking, Thor, that's what I'm talking about. Where he's just, so these are the different kinds. And so this is what I call story surrender. Okay. And survival surrender is really, it's when you have no other choice. The universe has shown you that there is not another choice. So we go into that survival surrender. So this combined is called story surrender. So my question is, what if we can transcend the story? And I want your mind to work on that while we look at this question. How do these kinds of surrender, how do these stories show up in your life and in your health? I'd love to see that in the chat, especially I'll come back and address that in the comments, even if you're watching the replay. But how does this show up for you in your life and in your health? So for me, I'll just talk about my health a little bit. I'm going through, that woman of a certain age transition right now. And I'm experiencing some different things. And so, of course, my go-to is, well, this stuff has worked in the past for me. I'm just going to keep on you because I know that this works, but it's actually not working for me now. So that's my first. Or again, the number 3 fly is my secondary go-to, where I would just be like, well, I've done everything right. I don't know. What do I do now? What do I do? But I've done it all right. So how about you, Christy? Can you see where these different types of surrender are showing up for you in your life and in your health?
Yeah, I mean, I would say my transition for surrender has only been within like the last, I would say 8 weeks. So prior to that, I was fly number 100% of the time. It was, if this kills me, I'm still going to try and make this work. Now, I don't know that any of those really resonate with me anymore, because now I feel like I do have that other choice that I'm making. But yeah, I mean, in all areas of my life, it's always been, whether I was a perfectionist and I had to absolutely make sure that my delivery was perfect for everybody else, even if it killed me. And you're going to hear the trend of even if it killed me. If it was a matter of people pleasing, it was always a matter of saying yes to everybody else's needs, even if it killed me. So, and then if there were any barriers, if I was looked at as, not competent enough, which happened a lot in school, then I was going to show them that they were wrong, even if it killed me. All of those situations always led to me fighting, and not really looking at other solutions, but just really feeling like the only option I had was to continue fighting in order to eventually get what it was that I needed, which, whether it be through external validation or proving myself, right, then at least I felt like I was worthwhile and being successful.
That is fantastic awareness, Christy. And I think that you are going to really resonate with what we talk about next, which is transcending the story.
Yes.
It's like not even playing this game anymore.
Yes. Yes.
I call supported surrender.
Oh, so good.
And I hope by talking about those other kinds of surrender, by identifying feelings within those, it's going to help you know, are you going true north, like I like to say, in this supported surrender? Because if you're feeling any of those other things, it's an indicator, hey, I'm not going true north. So, no judgment. That's just how it is, right? I'm going to use that information to move to this space of supported surrender. So this is my definition of supported surrender. It's trusting that there is a possibility of something happening that will guide you to exactly what is right for you. It's about knowing that you can't see the bigger picture and trusting that the universe or source or God or your higher power is always guiding you to your highest good. And please notice that I didn't say guiding you to what you expected, what you want, what you visualized, or what you hoped for. It's for your highest good, which may be those things. And it may be those things, but through a route that you could not have possibly imagined for yourself because you just didn't have the information.
Is
And
that
so
in a slide here? Do you have that?
Can you see the slide right now?
I'm only can see slide number 1. How is this?
Oh
like?
my goodness. Oh my goodness. Okay. So you know what we're going to do? I'm just going to go back in because I've had awesome slides. So I'm just going to go back through here real quick so you guys can
now
see
I can
all
see
the pretty slides.
Okay.
Hey, I mean, look, I even animated this slide so that the fly is hitting the window. Do you see how cool that is?
Yes, now I can. Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry about the technical difficulties. That seems to be the order of the night, right?
That is okay. Yeah, for sure. Always. Yeah.
And this is on the PDF handout
Okay.
that I'm sharing. So this is where we have the story surrender.
Okay.
And then transcending the story, supported surrender. So there's my definition.
Perfect.
This is supported surrender. And so supported surrender is an ongoing act, and it takes trust and reminding your animal mind. So I want to just talk for a second about the animal mind because that's what gets us off track all the time. And yet our animal mind is vitally important. So animal mind, reptilian brain, basic brain, there's just a lot of terms for it, but it's at the very back of the brain. And it was the first part of the brain to evolve. And its only job is to keep you alive. So it's a really important part of the brain. And if that's where we're living all the time, then we're constantly resisting because it feels life-threatening to not know what's happening in the future, to give up your will, so to speak, to something that is unseen. That feels dangerous to that mind. And so there's a question that I have asked myself and trained myself to ask when I feel myself moving that way. And it is it life-threatening or is it ego-threatening? There's a lot of there's a lot of definition around ego, and part of ego really is in the reptilian brain, that part that just wants to keep you alive. Doesn't care if you're happy, rich, it does not care. His job is to keep you alive. So if you feel threatened, this is a great question to ask yourself. So we're going to go back here. Your mind or your ego does need reminding, and this is through questions, mantras, or other techniques to guide it back from story surrender to supported surrender. And this is one of my favorite movie clips of all time. You've all seen it. Can you hear it?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
It's a leap of faith. You must believe, boy. You must believe.
Okay, so love that clip because I think that it really demonstrates what it can feel like and that you'll be caught. And I think he did a really good job acting how we sometimes feel when we're moving into that. So I would like to share just a couple of personal stories that have taught me some of these concepts. So this is my youngest daughter, and 2 weeks after her first birthday, she was diagnosed with cancer. And she's my fourth child. And obviously this rocked our world. And while it was a very curable cancer, it actually has an 80% cure rate, she reacted very poorly and in a very rare way to one of the chemotherapies and developed a very dangerous liver condition that has no cure. You either get well or you die. There's nothing that they can really do. So she was in the pediatric ICU for many days, and literally we had no idea, sometimes from moment to moment, if she was going to live. She was bleeding from every place you can possibly imagine in her body, because what happened was her liver was pulling in all of her platelets. So she had no, she was just, it was a terrible situation. And if you've been in a situation like that, or other situations where you start making deals with God or the universe, and I was making deals with God. I had every religion, every faith practice, every spirituality of any kind praying for my daughter, and we just didn't know. And I will remember always sitting in a rocking chair holding her and not knowing if she would make it through the day. And I finally surrendered. It was survival surrender, but I had no choice. There was nothing I could do. So I finally said, fine, I surrender. Now, that was the first time in my life I'd actually surrendered at all, that I hadn't just kept being that fly banging up against the window, fighting. And it all, even in that survival surrender, it felt more peaceful than the fight. Now, the good part of this story is that she is now a thriving 17-and-a-half-year-old little entrepreneur herself, and is bringing a lot of joy, and even started a nonprofit to bring joy to children in the hospital who are going through cancer treatment. But in that moment that I gave up, that I surrendered, I had to be okay with either outcome. I knew what I wanted, but I had to be okay with either outcome. So if we fast forward 5 years from when she was diagnosed, my husband was diagnosed with cancer, very, very rare kind of cancer. And I'd kind of been through it with Jessica. So this time the surrender was faster, and it was more supported. I'm not going to lie and say that it was 100% supported. There was a little bit of fly number 3, a little bit of the stoic surrender in there, but it was a lot more supported surrender, because once again, I was faced with a situation where I did not know if it was life or if it was death. What I did know is that there was nothing I could do. And instead of being compelled to surrender, like in survival surrender, I was invited from my past experiences to surrender, and I accepted the invitation to surrender. And I am happy also to say that my husband, although still very, very ill, is still alive, and here we are 12 years later. So, and now me. So a few months ago, life was going perfect for me. My business was growing, my family was happy, my husband was at a stable place in his in where he is with his work. And I felt like things were going along really well. And then things just absolutely grinded to a halt because of my husband's health. That just, his health took a dive, and I took a dive. It felt like I fell into a pit. And I'm not a stranger to depression. But this took me by surprise. The velocity of the fall and the depth really took me by surprise. And I had, since this, and this is just a couple of months ago, in fact, you said 8 weeks ago, it was a very similar time frame for me, about 10 weeks ago. And I have played through this process every role of story surrender. And I am working on transcending that into this place of supported surrender. But what it has allowed for me is it shined a light on my attachments, my deep attachments that had become anchors from truly surrendering. And when you let go, you can receive the gift. You have to let go of the gift that's in your hand in order to receive another gift. Otherwise, you already have your hands full. So it's that letting go with gratitude. So how do you know if you have supported surrendered? You feel joy, whether you have your desire or not. And notice that I did say joy. Supported surrender doesn't mean you're going to be happy or just not sad or not have hard things happen, and that you can just move with ease, grace, and flow. I wish I could tell you that. I wish I had the key to that. But supported surrender gives you joy. Joy in what you have and what you are now. It means you experience gratitude for living this life, no matter what the circumstances. You're in supported surrender when your value and your worth do not feel dependent on something else. And when I was talking about my experience over the last 10 weeks, that was really what it was. I didn't realize the attachments to some lifestyle that I actually had. And that was keeping me from receiving the gift that I am choosing to view this process that I'm going through as a gift, so that I can speak from experience and see new insights into even just this topic. Because with my daughter, and then I got with my husband, I actually thought I kind of had this down. But I have to keep reminding my brain too. So I would love to teach you one of the easiest and most powerful ways to remind yourself to surrender to the support of the universe and to help get you into that state. And I call it the essence breath. And so a lot of times when we talk about breathing, we talk about expanding. And so sometimes I see people and they're really expanding in this horizontal way through their torso. The essence breath is a vertical expansion. So it's actually a lengthening from your root chakra or your perineum area to the crown of your head. And so using this vertical breath to breathe. So even if you're watching the replay, I would just invite you to just take one of these essence breaths, thinking of it moving in this vertical way, and taking a few of those when you start to feel threatened, when you start to feel like you've either got to fight, like fly number one, or one of the other animal brain, fight, flight, freeze, faint, those things, those are all part of the story, because it's not life-threatening, it's ego-threatening. And so taking that essence breath can be a great way to center you and help remind your brain that you are choosing to supported surrender because you believe and have faith in the curriculum of life, whatever that looks like for you, and that it's leading you to something better. So that is my presentation, and I know that we're out of time now. I was going to do a visualization, which I'd be happy to do a recording and do that, or we can just talk about it, and maybe that's something that you would love to do with your group. And I invite you to comment and just ask me any questions that you have about this concept that I'm feeling increasingly passionate about, and that I am in the process of up-leveling myself.
I actually have a couple questions. I do think the visualization would be very important. I don't think you have to worry about time. I'd rather them get the information that's best going to serve them, and they can always come back and, stop it and watch the rest later. So I'd rather them get the most of the information that and the expertise that you have to share. But I just want to make sure that I'm crystal clear on the difference between supportive surrender and survival surrender. I think I get it from a physical feeling, but I want to better understand how to articulate it. So when you talk about survival surrender, it feels like you're being forced to let go. It's like you've literally come to a crossroads in the road, and it's like I go left and I just keep fighting, although I absolutely have nothing left, to fight, or I go right and I just I don't know, just let go, but it's with resentment, it's not with desire. It's just out of sheer necessity because there isn't another real option.
And I would say, if I could add another,
Yeah.
not just resentment, but shame, because you should be able to just fight through this, right?
Fair. Yeah, fair.
There's
That's
an
actually a
element
great
of
point.
shame that goes with it. Think
Yeah.
about the white flag that you would wave if you knew that you had the choice to be killed or to surrender.
Yeah.
And it can feel like you're going, to be a prisoner of war here, but at least you've got your life. So does that help?
Yeah. It really does feel like you don't have another choice.
Exactly.
You're choosing to surrender, but only because there aren't any other options. Whereas supportive surrender is the willingness to let go of what you think should be. And you're just going to decide that whatever happens, happens, and you're going to be okay with that.
Correct. So think about that fly that's banging up against the window. And I open the door and I try to gently move the fly to a different path outside, but it's resisting. So that would still be, in another one. Whereas supportive would be that the fly
Allows you to guide it.
The guiding, and it still gets what it wants, but it might look different.
Yeah. I like that. I understand that better now. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you for the clarifying question.
Yeah. So now I guess I would just really love to know the other tool, so you talked about the breathing. Actually, before we get into the visualization, I love the essence breath. I love the idea about that, kind of taking, moving through the chakras and giving yourself permission to kind of breathe through, moving that force of energy up, and out of your head so that you can allow for, the proper distribution of the energy to move through your body so that you do have that freeness.
Yes.
So I think that the essence breath is extremely powerful. For years and years and years, as somebody who taught Pilates and group fitness, it was very much all about the expansion from that horizontal plane. But in my meditations and how I surrender, I do have to focus on the vertical breath, and it's funny because once I've done that breathing technique, I always know when I can start to feel anxious. And once I work through that breathing technique, while my mind still needs a little bit more time to work through it, and that's where the actual meditation process comes, the breathing technique that you just showed us does help me to get rid of the sensations of the anxiety, to then allow me to work through the mindfulness techniques of the meditation. So I thoroughly have used your breathing technique and I value it exponentially. So thank you for that.
It's just a funny story. I thought that I had invented, I'm not so I didn't think I'd invented that breath, but I had never had anybody teach it that way. And I had a client who's a singer. She goes, "Oh, that's just the singing breath." I can't remember exactly what she said. And I was like, "Oh, well, yes, I guess so." And that's awesome. Truth can be found everywhere, right?
Yeah. And you know what? at the end of the day, we're all trying to help people. And if they can hear it from a different context, if they hear it in different words, if a different name, if a different description helps them to kind of get the clarity and the aha moment, then it's perfect. Like I said, the essence breath works.
It works. And I don't care what you call it, but I do recommend practicing it.
Exactly. So now let's move on to the visualization. Let's give them one more tool.
Perfect. And there is, just while we're here, I wanted to share with you my mantra, which you're welcome to say while we do this visualization. The mantra that I have been saying to myself is, I am free when I surrender to the supportive universe. So I just switched those words. Freedom is a very high value to me. And so I am free when I surrender to the supportive universe.
Beautiful.
And you can say whatever you want around that, but that has been something that in conjunction with that essence breath that I say is a golden thread in my meditations. So I would invite you, let's do this visualization. So I invite you to take some of those essence breaths, the long breaths, pulling in energy from the earth, pulling in energy from the sky, and just breathing and focusing on that breath. Release any notions of right or wrong, good or bad. Just breathe. As long and as deep as feels comfortable for you. And as you breathe, I invite you to imagine in your mind the expanse of the universe, the infinite paths and possibilities. And allow this space of the universe to envelop your body in your mind's eye like a warm blanket, surrounded by the universe. And breathe in all those possibilities, all the infinite space. Curled up, being held in the hands of the universe like a warm blanket. Just notice how this feels. Notice how it feels on your skin and in your heart. Allow your friend of your subconscious mind to build a picture for you that you can see, and put a sound to the sound of the universe enveloping you. Perhaps there's even a smell. And using your senses, imagine being cradled in complete supported safety, weightless. Allow yourself to experience with all of your senses. And I ask your subconscious mind to remember how this feels, what it looks like, what it sounds like, so that you can go back to this image when you need to remind yourself that supported surrender is full of joy, peace, love. The universe has your back and your front and all around you. Now in your mind's eye, you're going to switch scenes and imagine yourself standing someplace up high. Maybe it's a mountain, maybe it's a balcony, maybe it's a cliff overlooking the ocean. Someplace up high, and outstretch your arms in your mind's eye, receiving the light of the sun or the light of the moon, whatever picture your subconscious mind is building for you. Say to yourself, I am free as I surrender to the supportive universe. And when you're ready, I invite you to take a step off of this ledge and be caught up in whatever way comes to you by the universe. And experience it fully. Ask your subconscious mind to remember all the feelings, and thoughts and impressions, sights, smells and sounds, this experience, that you can recall it. And that you can feel supported by the infinite mind of the universe. Become aware of your breath. Become aware of your body. Gently move your fingers and toes. And on your next breath, open your eyes and say, I am free through surrendering to the supportive universe. And I would love to hear about your visualizations as you did this. What was your subconscious mind communicating to you, and how did it communicate to you? By sharing it in the comments, it will support our other sisters that are doing this and cement it in your mind as a very, very powerful place to go in your journey of supported surrender.
I love that. That was absolutely beautiful. Thank you so much for doing that. I'm sure everybody's going to really appreciate the fact that they have these additional tools to help them to work through that rather than just constantly fighting.
Yes.
Thank you so much. This was extremely informative. I think for me personally, because I finally am at a place where I've started to do that and I now know the difference between the two. I think I'm able to look at both I don't actually know so much if I've ever been through survival surrender just simply because it's always just been fighting and fighting and fighting and fighting. And of course, you know, your body shuts down in order to get you to stop fighting. But even then, I think I still continue to fight. But I have learned supportive surrender. And I really, truly think that this presentation that you've offered is so incredibly powerful, because it wouldn't be without the supportive surrender that I wouldn't be dealing with the anxiety. And the anxiety wasn't to the point where it was crippling, but it was to the point where I would fall asleep at night and then wake up like somebody just came into the room and scared me, you know, like this jolt, like this nervous energy that would just go through my entire body and wake me up. And then all of a sudden, I would spend the rest of the night ruminating about doomsday, you know, and all of the things that it didn't matter, but it was worst case scenario. How was I ever going to get through the 500 different worst case scenarios? And I always call that solving world peace at 3 a.m., but it's not solving world peace, you know? And this, you know, this tool that if people are experiencing any kind of anxiety, stress, overwhelm, exhaustion, like this is just such a beautiful, these two tools are just so beautiful to actually start to go, okay, you know, I know enough's enough. What can I do now? Knowing that I still want to be here, but there's got to be another way to get to that place, whatever that ends up looking like, you know?
And I would just invite people to journal. When have you played these different roles in the story Surrender, and just looking back through that and realizing that it's just like we talked about. So there would be even a third tool is if I'm experiencing one of these feelings, there's an indicator of where to turn my compass to.
Oh, I love that. So you're bringing awareness to the insight of habitual behavior.
Mm-hmm.
And then because they're becoming aware of, oh, I'm being, you know, fly number 2 again, then what ends up happening is that's when they can stop like it's the pattern interrupt, right? And so they stop that, and then they can decide, okay, you know what? I don't have enough time to do the meditation or the visualization, but I have enough time to spend a couple of minutes working on the breathing technique, at least from a physiological standpoint, to, you know, to change my state. I love it. Yeah, I bring awareness to where you are in terms of your thought process, use the breathing technique to help you change your physiological state from sympathetic to parasympathetic, and then, you know, get into that. I'm still working on the words, but the supportive surrender as part of a new healthy habit alternative, so that you don't experience the same sense of fatigue, fear, overwhelm, anxiety, stress, and blah, 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 blah. I love it.
All the things. Yes. And we did ask our subconscious minds in that visualization to remember. So imagine the power. If you became aware, you did the essence breath, and in your essence and in your mind, you thought of whatever that, whether it was the universe, you know, cradling you, or whatever happened when you were supported, when you stepped off the ledge. So there was really kind of two things.
Yes.
I figure one of those things is going to stick in your mind.
Yes. You know, yeah, actually very true. I like that. Yeah, I like that. And plus what you're doing too is you're kind of setting the stage for all of the future potential possibilities, right? And when we feed the subconscious mind with other possibilities, that's when those doors start to open. That was really ingenious of you. So I appreciate that very much. Thank you.
Well, I've had a blast talking to you. And again, anybody who asks questions, just tag me in the comments and I will go in, and I'd love to chat with anybody about this. So
amazing. And like I said, I'll put the website in too, so they'll be able to learn more about you if they you know, have any questions, comments, concerns as well. So thank you so much for your time. I love
your stuff, Christy. Seriously, I think that you're such a game changer. So thank you for the opportunity.
Oh my gosh, anytime. We will definitely do this again.
I hope so. Okay. Bye.
Take care, everybody. Have yourselves a great rest of your evening, and catch this on the replay if you have any questions, comments, concerns, like Christina just mentioned. Also, I'm going to be posting this in version of you 2.0. So you'll be able to find it there as well in case you lose track of this one. So have yourselves a great